Paris, the 20s, it's raining, you're in some smoky bar up in Montmartre.
Right, lots of atmosphere.
Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Zelda, all there. Apparently they got into this playful mood and decided on a sort of writing competition.
On the spot.
A challenge.
Right, a challenge. And here's where, according to the source, it gets really interesting. The challenge was, okay, write the saddest story you can think of.
And this is the kicker. Use the absolute fewest words.
That constraint is fascinating, isn't it? How do you even do that? Pack so much sadness into, like, nothing.
How little do you really need to say to hit someone hard emotionally?
In this account we have, it says Hemingway takes up the challenge.
Yeah. The source describes him just like grabbing a napkin
A bar napkin, yeah.
and scribbling something down really quick, then passes it around.
For sale. Baby shoes never worn.
It really is such a perfect example, isn't it?
It is.
No subject is terrible if the story is true, if the prose is clean and honest, and if it affirms courage and grace under pressure.
How can just 6 words carry so much weight, so much, feeling?
Yeah, what is it about that specific phrase that makes it so powerful? It feels almost outsized for how short it is.
So our mission for this deep dive, based on everything you gathered, is to kind of break down the mechanics of that.
Right. Figure out the storytelling tricks, the principles that make something like this work so effectively.
And crucially, look at how these ideas go beyond just text. Because a lot of your sources pointed towards visual storytelling, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Film, art, it applies pretty broadly.
Okay, so let's start with the words themselves. For sale. Your notes pointed out, it's kind of mundane, right? Just transactional.
On the surface, yeah. But here it feels loaded. How it throws you right into the consequence, not the setup.
Okay, so you're not getting the backstory.
No, you just know something is being sold. And when it's something potentially personal, sentimental, creates mystery right away, attention, it hooks you.
And then the object, baby shoes. The research really highlighted this, didn't it? How symbolic that is.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about potential, isn't it?
Yes,
The future, hopes, dreams, everything tied up in a new life.
They're tiny, they seem innocent, but they carry this enormous symbolic weight.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the hammer blow, never worn. That's where the narrative gap just opens wide up. Why? Why were they never worn? What happened?
The baby.
Right. What happened to the baby they were meant for? And because it doesn't tell you, you have to wrestle with it. You imagine the tragedy.
So it's like a whole story arc in miniature. Hope, then something terrible implied, then the aftermath, all in 6 words. Astonishingly economical.
It really is. And this leads us straight into that core idea, this concept of charged absence.
Charged absence. Okay, tell me more about that.
It's essentially about what's left out. The deliberate omission. By not explaining the central event, what actually happened, the story gets, well, charged. Like static electricity.
Okay.
It fills with possibility, maybe dread, and it forces you, the audience, to use your own imagination, your own emotions to fill that void.
So the feeling isn't dictated to you. It's generated by you, by the questions you ask, the scenarios you inevitably start running in your head to explain those unworn shoes being sold.
Exactly. You become an active participant. You're co-creating the emotional impact, in a way.
That makes sense. The material noted that even without characters we know, or a detailed setting, or any described plot, really, you still get this overwhelming sense of loss, of sorrow. It starts with potential to shoes and bam, ends with the result of some tragedy.
Yeah, potential future dashed, ending in aftermath. Never worn, for sale. The notes pulled out some specific techniques for doing this visually.
Yeah, let's get into those. The first one was object as symbol.
Right, the idea is you pick one everyday thing, but it's so loaded with meaning, just its presence or its condition tells the whole story.
Like the baby shoes themselves.
Precisely.
I really like that focus. Examples like a wilting plant on a windowsill suggesting neglect, maybe loneliness.
Or a single key left behind on an empty counter.
Yeah.
Departure. Loss.
The object isn't just a prop. It's like a narrative shortcut. It is the story, almost.
Yeah, carries the weight. Then there was, starting from the end,
Okay, so instead of building up to the big moment,
you show the aftermath. You present the audience with the results, the consequences, and let them piece together what must have led to it.
right, like instead of showing a huge fight between a couple,
You show maybe 2 suitcases packed neatly by the front door, separate ones.
the result tells the story maybe even more powerfully because you have to imagine the fight, the tension that got them there.
Exactly. The third point, especially for visual stuff, was don't explain, just show.
Relying purely on the visuals, no dialogue, no voiceover, spelling it all out.
Yeah, trust the image. This links right back to charged absence, doesn't it?
It does. So instead of a character saying, "Oh, I miss him so much,"
You show, I don't know, an empty place setting across the dinner table. Or someone walking alone down a path they used to walk together.
the image becomes the feeling. You let the viewer connect the dots.
Fourth was about achieving short-time, deep emotion. In really short formats, you need symbols that land instantly.
Things people recognize the meaning of almost subconsciously.
Pretty much. Using visual iconography, widely understood symbols or archetypes to communicate complex stuff really fast.
Like, a single shoe in the middle of a road instantly suggests disaster, maybe abandonment.
Or a close-up on a ticking clock, pressure, time running out. You get it immediately without needing words. It taps into shared cultural understanding.
Okay. And the last was symbolic action.
Right, taking a simple, everyday action,
Like washing dishes.
could be, and giving it a deeper meaning beyond just, cleaning the plate. Narrative meaning.
Someone meticulously cleaning up a mess someone else made.
Yeah, symbolizing maybe trying to regain control, restore order in a chaotic life.
Or someone constantly checking their reflection. Not vanity, but maybe questioning their identity after something big happened. The action represents something internal.
So what this deep dive really shows is that the power of that 6-word story and this whole minimalist approach, it hinges on implication. It's all about setting up a compelling situation with just enough detail to guide you.
But leaving out that central piece, that absence.
Exactly. And that absence becomes charged because you are compelled to step in emotionally and imaginatively to complete the story.
So it's not feeding you the narrative spoon by spoon. It's more like an invitation, inviting you to build it yourself, using your own empathy, your own experiences to bridge those gaps.
That's a great way to put it, an invitation. And understanding these principles, the ones we've talked through from your materials, it really does give you a new way to look at stories.
And not just stories, maybe communication in general. How powerful suggestion can be.
Yeah, suggestion and implication versus just stating things outright. There's a real art to it.
So wrapping this up, thinking about everything we've kind of unpacked today, here's something to chew on.
Yeah.
How much story, how much feeling can actually be packed into a suggestion, into a symbol, into what's deliberately not there? Where else do you see this power of absence at work? Maybe in films you love, or art, or heck, even just in daily life. The power of what's left unsaid.
Turn it over.
Oh my God.
It's like official state China of the Third Reich. There's a whole subculture of people who collect this Nazi shit. But my dad just has this one thing. What's wrong?
Nothing.
No, you're scared of me.
No, I'm not.
You want to see the most beautiful thing I've ever filmed? It was one of those days where it's a minute away from snowing. And there's this electricity in the air. You can almost hear it, right? And this bag was just dancing with me. Like a little kid begging me to play with it. For 15 minutes. That's the day I realized that there was this entire life behind things. this incredibly benevolent force that wanted me to know that there was no reason to be afraid. Ever. Video's a poor excuse, I know. But it helps me remember. I need to remember. Sometimes there's so much beauty in the world. I feel like I can't take it. And my heart is just going to cave in.
Oh my God. What time is it?